Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Here we have a 2008 G35X, an Infiniti G35X. And this is going to be our new project. Well, I should say the source of parts or the platform for our new project. If you've been watching our channel, you might remember back to when we brought that 74 Charger in, Project Gangrene. Look what we just dragged in. That's it, I guess.
That's it, yeah.
Well, that's the project I'm referring to. We're going to take this body, peel it off, and drop that 74 Charger over top. The rain is coming in. We're dealing with the after effects of that hurricane recently, so gotta get this done quick because it comes in spells. Okay, let's take a look around this car. You can see there's no collision damage. It's a really great runner. A little rough around the edges, the bottom of the door there. Fender's bubbling, but that's okay, none of that matters because, like I said, this body's coming off. What we're interested in is what's under the hood. So let's take a look. See, nice leather interior. Pop the hood. That's what we're interested in right there. It's an all-wheel drive V6 3.5 liter, putting out stock probably 305, 306 horsepower. But with the aftermarket exhaust we have on it, it's a Flowmaster. Previous owner put it on. We're gaining probably 150 horsepower. Not really, maybe 2 or 3. Back here in the trunk, we have coat hangers and spare parts, as well as OEM antifreeze coolant. I didn't see any coolant leaks, so the guy's probably being proactive and picked up some Infiniti brand coolant in case he ran low. There's a luggage net there, spare tire, accessories underneath. Oh, and the badge. I guess that came off the front engine cover there. He's been sitting for quite a while. A lot of leaves built up in there. A trash collection. Closes okay. Uh-oh. Taillight's busted. Now, before we get into any more details, the rain is picking up, so we're gonna get this backed into the shop and just go over a little bit as to what the plan is with this. Well, you already know the plan, but as to why I chose this car over, say, a MOPAR. The AC blows cold. That's pretty important. Everything on this car is fully functional. So let's get into some details. That should help with the wind noise. I lost a dead cat for the microphone when we were doing the M40C driving tour. Somehow it blew off and out the window. I'm guessing that's what happened because I can't find it in the car. Anyway, now we're inside, we're dry because our rain kind of comes and goes. We're gonna talk about this car and why I chose this particular model. Some of you might be disappointed, but hopefully after you hear why I chose it, you'll come to understand. For those of you who are new to our channel, check out the very first video, the Project Gangrene video, when we prepare this 74 charger for this platform. I left you hanging in that video because at the time I did have a few leads, but nothing concrete in terms of a donor. When it came to finding a suitable vehicle platform for that 74 charger, I spent a lot of time on the interweb looking for anything MOPAR within a reasonable driving distance. Didn't matter, Charger 300, Chrysler 300. I went out to check them. Now either they were rotted out, the floors were totally gone. You can see carpeting, the underlaying and all that stuff. Door hinges were rusted up tight. This is for a garaged car, you know, never winter driven. I don't understand. But anyway, they had to deal with that, or high mileage, 200, 300,000 kilometers. Everything needed replacing, control arm, bushings and brakes and everything. Or the engines were low mileage, cars were low mileage, but the engine transmission was beat within an inch of its life. You pull the dipstick on the tranny, and all you smell is a caramel apple. That's not good. We have enough work ahead of us to bring that shell over top and glue it to, we're not gluing it, over top of the platform. I didn't want to be going through mechanical issues. To find something that's had collision damage, again, I want something that runs true down the road. Even after you pull it all straight, it is never the same. Challenger with a Hellcat, I had my fingers crossed, nothing within a reasonable driving distance for a good price. So here we are, Infiniti G35X, meaning all-wheel drive, 306 horsepower when they're new. We've had great experience with the Infiniti G35 platform. We used one for the 51 Ford. You can check out the picture. That turned out really well. Dad's had that car everywhere, extremely reliable, more than enough power for sane driving on the streets. If you want to fool around with it and see what it really does, take it to the track. There is an event coming up. We might go to that this summer. If we have some time, we'll see. So this one here, the mileage is under 100,000, which is really good. It has new brakes front and back. Engine, transmission, extremely strong. Take my word for it. And yeah, aside from the body having some little bit of rust issues on the exterior, I rolled around underneath, checked it out, it's solid. As for this right now, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I'm not gonna really get into showing you the whole disassembly process. If you wanna see that, there's a card up above where I blow the XS, the G35 XS, the one for the 51 Ford, apart and prepare it for that project. And then I'll bring you guys in when we have the structure exposed. You've seen me cut up cars before, you've seen me disassemble cars before. We never break windshields or rear windows. I know some people like to throw fire extinguishers through them. Cue short video. We can now go ahead and pull this rear glass out. Let me get my tool. Let's get something a little different to show we mean business. We're gonna just get into this, break it down to the structure. I'm not gonna remove the dash just yet. I wanna keep that intact. Reason why, really important, you wanna establish your seating position with that charger shell. Some of you may have already Googled Infiniti G35 wheelbase, coming up with 112 inches, Dodge Charger, 74 Charger, 115 inches. This is a little bit shorter. That's okay. What's really important is the front cowl, windshield, how all this comes in this location. Seating position, well, that kind of falls into place. The charger doors are much longer. Everything else we can work with. And we're gonna make a few changes to that car too. I have to make new front fenders anyway. Those ones on that car are fiberglass. I don't work with fiberglass. I'm a steel guy, sheet metal guy. So we're gonna make a set of new front fenders for that car. All right, gang. Oh, and those wheels. We're not going to be using those wheels because if you've also Googled track width, it's different. So let's get started and get into this. It's always important to disconnect the battery. I believe the windshield is now free. Can you guys hear that though? We got a couple breaks in it. Too bad, so sad. Okay, well that's gone. Took a little bit of time because of this angle through here. I didn't want to damage the dash, getting the saw in there. So I went from my little trusty putty knife mounted to an old reciprocating blade. See that? Kind of welded the two together. Around the perimeter works great, but I had to reach down inside. So just use a Sawzall blade, nice long one. Went down and cut that urethane right out. So there we go, back one's done. Let's go take a look. Well, as you can see, without the front glass, this thing is looking pretty bare. Everything's been removed from the interior. The harnesses, we're gonna have to pull them off from the exterior panels. Anything that runs down the top of the rockers will have to be unclipped, moved inward. I don't want to burn anything. Rear seat belts, all that stuff still has to come out. I waited until the back glass was cut out. Just makes things a little bit easier to cut and not shattered. Front glass, if it breaks, you got a couple shards. You can see them on the dash. We can vacuum these up and nobody will know the difference. Back here, you'll be picking up pieces for months. Even after the car's done, you'll have pieces somewhere falling out, really annoying. So, as I was saying, with the back glass out, we can now undo the seat belts, the subwoofer, remove all that, because that whole package tray is coming out. These harnesses have to come out from the back. There's a harness up in here, along the back. Trunk bumper area that has to come out. Check out those exhaust tips, huge. We might decrease them a little bit. They look a little bit too big. And yeah, so next step is to chase this thing outside, tidy up the floor under the car so we're not kneeling on nuts, bolts, shards of rusty metal, and bring her back in, elevate it to the beam, bring in the frame table, lower it on the frame table, and jig it up. And by jigging it up, I don't mean dancing. I mean getting box tubing sections. I can show you this, but I'm going to tell you before we do it. At the proper right height, we'll set the proper right height, cut box tubing sections, and fix it to the frame table at our right height. And that way, when we chop this roof off, nothing's going to move. It'll be supported front, back, everywhere where it needs to be. Right now, if I went ahead and cut this out, that center would surely sag. You might not see it, but it will sag, I guarantee it. And we want this car to track properly when it's finished. We don't want to be having a little dip in the middle. Factory ride height was 6 inches in the front, 6 3/4 at the back, and wheel arches, before we cut them, the back one's still factory, that was 27 3/4, and the front was 27. So 3/4 of an inch rake, front to back, factory dimensions. They are a little bit larger right now because there's no weight in the car, but they were large originally. If you looked at the car initially before we started disassembling, that space was pretty big. So when we drop the charger down, I'm going to bring it down nice and low. Just get it in as tight as we can, not with these wheels of course, because these are in too far. They're a flat face wheel, and we want a kind of a deep dish wheel, kind of a muscle car feel to them. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First things first, we're going to chase this thing outside, clean up, and then we'll bring it back in, get it on the table, and start cutting. And yes, it is a driver. We hook up the battery. A lot of the systems have been disconnected. No doors, of course, no power windows, but the main functionality of that engine should still go. So we'll press the button, see what happens. All right, let's release the emergency brake and make ourselves comfortable. Block of wood's kind of hard. Just a wild guess, but this dashboard's gonna illuminate itself like a Christmas tree. But it runs. A little twitchy. I think it's a little light. Feels like a go-kart. Well, that's about as far ahead as we can get this shell that's suspended from the I-beam right now. I've got the frame table angled down to get the tail end of the car down so we can get these 8-pillar posts past the fender flares, inner fenders. And this is just cleared, just got by. So now we have to do some looking and see where we can do some more trimming, because we're sitting way too far back with the shell. Big change from a running, driving, disassembled, but not chopped up Infiniti to what you see here. Basically a platform that we can stick the shell on. Yeah, rear quarters, I know they're gonna be too long at the moment. Well, let me take you around and show you what's happening everywhere, because I think this is what everybody wants to see, where we're going to be taking things next. So this is the A-pillar where the hinge is attached to for the Infiniti. This is the charger. It's quite obvious. You can see the pillars are leaning back. That's what's holding us up. We're binding up on the A-pillars of the charger. So we're going to have to cut up, remove this, just so we can gain as much forward distance as possible. I want to see where things are going to be at that point. That'll improve things back in here. We have the freedom to chop away that right angle there, have that angle come down, maybe made up with the angle of the Infiniti. We'll see. Things are coming in really close. I'm really happy with it right now. Just the way it sits. You know, width-wise, we're not doing too bad. She's a little bit floppy there. The quarters are flared out a bit because there's nothing really holding them from, you know, spreading out. We're not doing too bad. That C-pillar, we're gonna trim that up. Rear deck, we'll just take this back till we reach that cross member there and stop. This hinge mount, we'll just take and trim that up there and see where it falls in this area. And then we might have to take and extend down and pick up the wheel tub later on. This is totally wrong angle. I can get rid of that, that's okay. Back here, I'm not worried about any of that. Passenger side, same thing. Area under the windshield, that's just a rough cut. We're gonna lower her down and see how close it comes in. I'm really thinking a lot of that's gonna have to be removed and brought up even higher yet. There's about 3 inches of room we can gain. I just don't want to lose the corners over there, but if we have to, we will. And we could put a temporary brace across the front of the windshield just so we don't, you know, lose what we have there. It should be okay, but I don't want to risk the chance of altering the shape of the windshield. That's really important. Let's look from the front. Everything's kind of covered up and protected with cardboard, so it'll burn better if a piece of whatever falls in between. I'm kidding. We're always mindful of the sparks, so if we do any cutting, we always double check and make sure that there's nothing that's going to ignite in there. Kept the windshield wiper center mount, as well as that one there. I'm not sure if we're going to run with the Infiniti wipers, which are down in here, wrong angle, to the ones on the charger. But as you can see, that was a crate I tripped over. As you can see, things are coming together pretty well. I don't want to lose the rear deck either of the charger. That's what's really holding this car together at this point. With this car, not sure if I mentioned it, but we're going to turn it into a 2-seater. See the length of the doors? We're coming back into here. That was the original posts. The B-pillars of the Infiniti, that's going to be gone, cleaned up. We'll peel off all this stuff here, just take it down to a clean rocker panel, and we'll tie the charger's C-pillars into a fresh rocker that we create to blend in all this. I've seen other rebodies, and a lot of times the body is sitting way too high on the platform. Nothing wrong with it, it gives it a different look, but I want to see how close we can get this charger down on that platform. If we can give this a really low profile, that would look awesome. As soon as I do some more cutting, we'll trim things up and we'll try it again. This is the first blush, first attempt at assembling or bringing them together. And there's always going to be room to cut away more. If you cut away too much too fast, then you got to add. And adding can be a little bit tricky sometimes. I don't want to lose the plug or any of that. So if this structural member can stay put, because that's what connects the firewall, the front fender, structure, the rockers, that ties everything in for the Infiniti. If I cut that away, I lose the rigidity of that lower platform that I really want to keep. Up here, it doesn't matter. We can bolt the hinges to here if we need to, but why rework all this if there's nothing wrong with it? Yeah, the bottom is a bit rusty and actually missing, but we can recreate that. There's that crate again. And this surface here, I didn't want to lose that. Keep that intact. That's our dome light switch there. Keep that intact. So let me do some more trimming. A-pillar, the trunk hinges, and the rear deck, those C-pillars, trim them down. All right, guys, we spent past a little while trimming back the dash a little more. Opened up the A-pillar. You like that, eh? And trim back that rear deck a lot more. And the reason for that is we want to retain this rear package tray. We've removed the hinges. They're on some spot welds, just so we can get this wheel arch sitting down. We're going to see about an inch below this factory lip. Now this platform has been mounted at ride height to the table with those spacers all the way around. All evenly spaced, well, evenly, 6 inches in the front, 6.5 in the back. Give it a bit of a rake. That's what the factory had. So there we have the body. We're going to bring it ahead, drop it down, and see what it says. For those of you who are new to our channel, this is my dad Vic. He's the boss around here. Okay. Boss. Right there. That should be there. Yep. Stop for a second. I'm going to relocate this cable down like this. Okay, come on down. Oh. Come on down. Easy there. Are we sitting on that pod at all?
Yeah, a little bit of engagement going on here. Just the front there.
Oh, yeah.
But we're sitting about 1.5 inches.
Okay, there's lots of room here. Come on down a little more. That's it, okay? There we go. That's what we want. Okay, the other side's still sitting a little bit high. There we go. Okay. Let's lower the back. That front's got to come down some more. We're sitting on those front triangles again. Those corners,
yeah.
I got to cut those back.
Yeah, outside edges.
Let me put a mark. Unless I bend them in. Okay, lower her down.
Okay, this is, oh, you got both sides?
Yeah, bring her down. That's it. Okay. Okay, stop there. Let's see how it looks.
Are your rear deck struts sitting on that beam?
Within half an inch.
Okay. Yeah, so the outer edges are sitting.
There we go.
That's what I'm looking for.
Hold this side. Okay. So the back is just about where it needs to be. We've got the factory lip up inside about 3/4 of an inch, right there. And this one is almost where it needs to be. We can come down a little more. If anything, we can lower in kit and drop it down some more. We'll see. As for the front, we have some more work ahead of us. Some more trimming. We are now sitting on top of the front cowl, and we have to come down. This is not a good side to be looking at. We've got the rocker, original rocker, right there, and that's really how much more we have to come down.
This side's about an inch.
That's about an inch. If we can get the back to come down that extra little bit, well, actually, if this comes down, that'll drop.
Yeah.
So if we can get the front to come down a little more, see, cut more of that dash out. This dash is way too narrow for this car, and it doesn't look like a Charger dash. So we're going to modify it a little bit later on to give it a custom touch. So I'm not too concerned about the perimeter. The pod, that's staying as it is. Change the center ring on the steering wheel and keep the console. But the ends, we're going to have them come into the doors a little more straight. So yeah, we're sitting on the dash pad again.
Now, your original rocker on the Infiniti is a good 3/4 of an inch higher than this.
You're right, yes. So you can see that's where the level was for the original rocker. There was a space in between. You can see right here.
Yeah, so it's
So we're not that far off from factory.
That's right.
But I'd like to see it lower.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it lower. I want to close this space in here. Check that out. That's all the little bits and pieces of trimmings that we've spent past couple hours. It took us longer to cut that stuff out and fit this than disassemble and cut up this donor. But getting back to here, you can see the rear wheel arch is not centered. The wheel is not centered in the arch. That's okay. We're going to cut these quarters off because there's nothing left of them. And we're going to form up new sides and get them welded in with a shorter tail. That's going to help.
You're going to be shortening it too. Show the length.
So looking from back here, you can see how much we can suck that whole back end in. There's a drawing right there. For the 345th time, we've got the body slid back. Did a little more trimming here to the dash. Looks a little excessive, but don't worry, we'll take care of that. And I think at the back, we're going to be fine for now. Not going to do any more trimming there, but we've kind of opened things up there where the bottom of the windshield joins the A-pillars. So we should have a little more wiggle room to drop things down. Let's see how it goes. How are you there?
I'm about almost there.
Perfect. Okay, now let's get the front down.
Okay?
Yep. What?
Have an inch space.
Inch space, same here.
You want to go back further?
No, we're okay. We're okay. Yeah. Down you go. Looks okay. Hello. You good there? $346 time.
And maybe a few more. Okay. You're done in the back?
Yep, we can slide it ahead again. I'm trying to get it back as much as possible, but we have to have that lip just in front of that pod.
So you got your eye on it?
Yep. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna need a bar here to pry this out. Let's give it a wiggle wiggle. I'm gonna drop the back.
Oh, that might be another reason. Yeah.
How is it?
Well, so far so good.
I got 6 inches to go.
So I'm closing in on the pod.
Okay, that's fine.
About 1/8 of an inch.
I got 3 inches to go. You want to put a piece of cardboard in it, or is it too late?
Well, I can still probably slide it in there.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm getting awfully close. This little piece here was going down deeper before.
There we go. Gotta go 1/8 of an inch more. Okay.
Slack off the chain. Don't go here you want.
I think we are good. All right, guys and gals, we're just about there, I think. Our cardboard is tight, so we can't go down any more, but we do have to come down about 1/2 inch on this side. The back rocker is sitting right where it needs to be on this side. This was the original Infiniti door sill level. We've cut away the rot here, so we have to reference the passenger side. You can see where the charger level is, where the Infiniti was, and where I was hoping to get to, but I don't know where to get that because that pod is holding us up. The back, we might have to come up a little bit on this side and square everything up. Our distances in this area are a little bit off, so we can't have the car sitting with the dog leg on the chassis. Down under here, we need to trim up some more material because it's kicking our door pillar outward at the bottom. They have a plate up in there, 1/8 material, yeah, so that has to be trimmed back. So we have to pull this off for the 357th time. Door gap, front of the door is here at this point, at this black line. Now the front of this fender goes on forever. We're gonna have to pull that back as well. We're shortening this car up, guys, quite a bit. Rear wheel arch, we'll have to move ahead. So that's not too much of an issue when we make up new quarters. In the back tail, we're gonna bring it ahead. Let's get this thing leveled. Put the casters back on it, underneath the feet, and see what it looks like level. Okay, good, one more side. Drop her down. I wanted to show you guys what fell out of the rear rocker panel. Check out that ball of aluminum stuffed into the hole, and then the filler stuffed in around, well, from this side. That's to prevent the filler from falling into the hole. Worked out pretty well. Well, that looks a lot better. Yeah, it's level now. The stance is looking pretty good. Now those quarters are kind of flared out because there's nothing holding them in. Could you give it a push, Dad? Yeah, there you go. There. So these wheels, we're gonna get different wheels, and they're gonna come out a little more, fill in that hole a little better. As for the front fender, it's somewhere on the shelf out back. We're not gonna pull it out just yet. We wanna get this body established on the chassis before we go really any further. I'd like to get the doors and seat in to see how the headroom is, but these bars are in the way, so we'll wait again with that. So give us a few minutes. We're gonna take this thing off again and do some more trimming. Alright guys, so as you can see on the inside we have a fresh sheet of steel, sheet metal, 16 gauge flavor, bridging the space between the charger and the Infiniti. A series of screws holding the A-pillar of the charger to that web, and one on the inside. That's all I can get in terms of room to the Infiniti. That's going to do for now. We've got the cab positioned in such a way that it's no longer a cab forward design. with a muscle car, you need to have that cab sitting back a bit. So we made sure that we had the appropriate distance between the front wheel and the front cut line of the door, as well as what we have here. And you can see this wheel is not centered in the arch. We're going to be redoing all this later. So I'm not going to focus on that too much. Right now, what I want to do is to see what things feel like from inside the car. And overall, the fit is quite good. The Charger is a wider body than the Infiniti. When I sat in the Infiniti, my shoulder was touching the B-pillar. Right now, I've got tons of space. Perfect. Seating position, I'm looking straight out just below the center of the glass. I've got 2 inches of headroom, maybe a little more. Perfect for a ceiling liner. And well, the seat, I've repositioned it so it's all the way down. And yeah, it's reclined back a bit. I can see the gauges. This whole pod section, steering wheel, gauge pod, that whole thing tilts up and down. Steering wheel comes in and out. So plenty of space, comfortable. The whole goal was to get this body down as low as possible on the Infiniti's platform. So that's why we removed most of the dash, a bunch of structure in there, peeled away more of that A-pillar for the Infiniti, just to get things situated as low as possible. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, so you've got the door and fender on the car. Door's bolted, fender's mocked up. We've got a slight misalignment issue. Just a tad up in there, and I think it gets a little bit worse here. The rockers on the Infiniti are a little thicker than those that were on the Charger. We're gonna have to work with that. No problem, given we're looking at that stuff there. This actually fell out of there somewhere. Just like that, fell down. So, no bueno. We'll cut this off in a few minutes, cut the back, make a few adjustments there. And these fenders, they're fiberglass. So, not going to be doing too much with that. We'll whip up a whole new set of fenders, build another set of fenders out of sheet metal instead. Crazy thing, talked to the owner, or one of the owners, happened to see the car on Facebook, and I believe he called this Hulk Puke Green, that spot there. And at 21, that was for speed. Too wild. All right, guys, so I'm up on a ladder on the other side of the shop. I apologize for that post being in the way, but I want to get a look at this car from a few feet further back than we were. We have a lot of work ahead of us because things just don't look right at all. That nose, you know, it's a little bit long, so we have to bring it in a little bit, close up the wheel arch, do a bunch of stuff to make this look right. You're not supposed to put a Charger body on an Infiniti, but we're going to do that. We're going to make a few adjustments, and in the end, it's going to look really trick. Trust me. However, before we go any further, we have to do some unbuilding. First thing, we're going to take that fender off, get rid of it. This door, I think we're going to leave it on for now. It's not in our way. I'm going to take this quarter panel, chop this area off. We don't need it. It's wrong, it's not centered, and it's really, really, really crunchy. So we'll make a fresh one. Back here, see these little lines? These happy little lines? They are happy. Look. It's smiling. We're going to take and cut this back end off right through here so that we can rearrange things and suck them in to eliminate this big gap back here. Shorten the boot. Not sure if we'll keep that bumper. We probably will, as well as the original bumper. It'll be sitting a little bit higher because as we move up on this sail panel, things are going to move up. Looks kind of dazed, doesn't he? Anyway, I'm really happy as to how things are shaping up on this car. Working out quite well. I'm not going to open this door because there's a lot of weight there, and if we only have 1 or 2 bolts at the front. Go on the other side. You can see the difference between the width of the pinch weld, the seal for the door on the Infiniti, and the charger. We're about an inch wider. All this stuff, we're going to peel that off when the shell is off, clean it all up, and make a fresh rocker, full-length rocker. Tie everything in. Check out how close that rear wheel arch lines up to the tub on the Infiniti. It's scary close. We could almost weld it there and be done with it. Almost, not quite. We have to rearrange the width a bit because, as you can see, it's a bit too far away over here. See that gap there? We have to take that into account and kind of bridge it, just as we did in the front. Mentioned earlier, this car is going to be a two-seater. It'll just be a cosmetic panel, kind of filling in that space. My speaker system. Done. At the front, we're going to have to take this dash and widen it out to the way the charger was back in the day, right to the door. I'm not sure if we're going to have a curve to it or keep it straight. Instrumentation, center section is going to remain, but it's going to be, again, rearranged so it doesn't look like an Infiniti. The only thing you're going to have that's kind of resemble an Infiniti is that pod and that navigation screen center console. But again, if someone didn't know, never drove an Infiniti, well, it might look like a modern Charger concept car. Let's pull this fender off before it falls off. There we go. See, fiberglass. So, not sure what we're going to do with them. Maybe hang them up on the wall as a keepsake. I don't know. If I did that with every car, we'd have a lot of fenders on the car, on the wall. What we will do with this is keep it and pull templates off of it and modify those templates to fit what we have. If I just try to mock something up here with wire, there's a chance it might not look like a Charger front fender. So we're going to keep this around for a while. Now, as I mentioned, with this quarter panel, I'm not going to cut away too much. We have to put this on the rotisserie, get it to the media blaster, have them strip this down so we can bring it back, epoxy prime it, and then put it back on this platform and start building. I'm not going to cut away too much of the quarter. I need some strength in this area, so I'll probably leave a 3-inch band across the top and do a diagonal type of thing here. This will probably just cut up to the jamb. Just eliminate a lot of the rust. He doesn't need to blast this for nothing. It takes time. I don't want to waste his time. And so that's pretty much it. As for the back here, we're just going to cut it through here and put this aside so that we can mock it up later on when we have all the pieces back. And there we have it. So it has been patched with a new piece because the original lip rotted away and a bunch of tar and whatever. So to fix this, it wouldn't have been worthwhile. And well, we got to move the wheel arch anyway. So we use this as a template because I want to replicate, well, it really doesn't matter because that's not original anyway. We'll come up with our own wheel lip design. And now we have full access to restructure the body onto the Infiniti. To work in from the other sides wouldn't have been too easy. Amazing how close that comes in together. Wow. I'll bring you guys in. And just check that out. That's the original charger structure in there. We'll replace that, tie it down into here. This part is actually this. There, that used to sit up in there. So that's what they use to hold those wheel tubs structurally sound. We'll replicate something similar as well. Tie up into that structure in there. We might leave this, we might fill it, I'm not sure yet. And this space here has to be taken care of. It's too bad they didn't come any closer, but hey, we're pretty close as it is. Interesting. So we'll peel these quarters off. That might be, no, that's structure in there. But overall, it's looking good. Oh, let me throw the back dovetail on, if you will. All right, that'll work for now. A little misalignment there, not worried about that. But that's a heck of a lot shorter. It's gonna look good. Yeah, we'll extend that down, conceal that. Those tips might go smaller, I don't know. They seem a little bit big. Maybe give them an oval shape, give them a squeeze. We'll see. That's trivial stuff. Right now, we need to get this body off and onto the rotisserie after I cut that side off, and get it media blasted. Then we'll bring you guys in next episode when she's, I guess, back on the Infiniti and ready to be built. There'll be more structure installed. We'll build the rockers. Really take this thing to the next level. Yeah. Shave the drip rails. And Mr. Wolf, he once asked me about wheel fender flares on a 57, was it Nomad, I believe? I really tried to get to it beginning of the year. Unfortunately, things came up. So what we're gonna do is do a little video on creating wheel lip arches on this car. Not Nomad style, but something similar, something. We'll see. A little ways away from that yet. But I'll show you how to make wheel arches. And those wheels, they're not staying. Rims or tires. Tires are pretty shot. Check with these back ones. Someone was having a little bit of fun with them. We need something a little bit wider. Fills that opening up a little bit. We don't want to squeeze the quarter panels on this car. If you look down the length of the car, you see the shape how it kind of flares out. It's got a Coke bottle style flare. Kind of like the Avanti, Studebaker Avanti had back in the day. Raymond Loewy came up with that design. Very aerodynamic. It's kind of one of the reasons why I like this particular body style. After we change it around a bit. All right guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Helps us out a lot. If you're new, just checking us out, and you haven't subscribed yet, mash that button. Because when the body shell comes back, this upper portion, things are going to start moving ahead rather quickly. Yeah. All right guys, take care.